Hi, on behalf of my colleagues, I'd like to describe the development of a patient-reported outcome measure created to capture the subjective experience of the cognitive impairment that patients with schizophrenia struggle with. Now, on this slide, you can see that the World Health Organization estimates that about 21 million people worldwide are affected by schizophrenia. The impact of schizophrenia on the global burden of disease was highlighted in a large-scale empirical study that estimated disability weights in which 1,160 sequelae resulting from 289 different diseases and injury causes were mapped into 220 distinct health states. Based on approximately 14,000 individuals who have participated in household surveys and another 16,000 who participated in a web-based survey, acute schizophrenia had the largest disability weight of 0.76 on a scale of 0 to 1. Now, cognitive function or functional capacity in schizophrenia can be assessed using established, validated instruments. For example, the Matrix Consensus Cognitive Battery, or MCCB, or the Cambridge Automated Neuropsychological Test Battery, or CANTAB battery, are batteries of neurocognitive tests used in clinical trials to assess cognitive performance on domains such as verbal and spatial working memory and executive function. And instruments such as the Schizophrenia Cognition Rating Scale and the University of California, San Diego Performance-Based Skills Assessment are also used to assess function or functional capacity relating to cognition. However, there are no patient-reported outcomes that measure a patient's subjective experience of their cognitive impairment in schizophrenia. And so our aim was to develop a sensitive and reliable tool to assess the patient's experience of their cognitive impairment in patients with schizophrenia using qualitative research methods to extract the most common and relevant themes from patient narratives regarding their experience of their cognitive disability.
The initial conceptual model is based on knowledge gathered from the literature relating to schizophrenia and cognitive impairment, as well as feedback from experts in these areas. During concept elicitation interviews, people with schizophrenia discuss their experiences of cognition, the conditions under which these experiences occur, as well as their frequency, and importantly, how these experiences affected their daily lives. We developed an item pool based on common themes and terminology that patients use during these interviews. We evaluated these items during cognitive debriefing interviews. Patients gave their feedback, whether the items accurately reflected their experiences, as well as the questionnaires' clarity and how they interpreted items, the questionnaires' length, ease of response, and completeness. The initial conceptual model was comprised of 7 domains contributing to the subjective experience of cognitive impairment in schizophrenia. This model was evaluated during concept elicitation interviews with 80 patients with schizophrenia, which led to the removal of the intermittent impaired perception domain and 6 concepts in other domains, as well as substantial revisions to the concepts in the remaining domains in terms of their terminology and their meaning. The initial item pool included 53 items, 2 of those relating to bother, across the remaining 26 concepts in 6 domains. Of the 22 patients who participated in the cognitive debriefing interviews, 59% had an overall positive opinion of the questionnaire, saying that it contained meaningful and relevant items and was easy to understand. Patients completed the questionnaire in just over 9 minutes on average, and 86% reported that this was an acceptable length. 86% of patients also reported that there were no missing topics, with 84% rating the questionnaire as either very complete or quite a bit complete using a 5-point scale. Additionally, 77% of patients reported that the instructions were clear and easy to follow. 18 items were removed due to being difficult to comprehend or being redundant, and 22 other items were modified based on patient feedback and expert input. Overall, the cognitive debriefing process showed that the questionnaire captured experiences that are important to patients.
As shown in slide 7, the draft PRO instrument to be used for further testing currently contains 35 items altogether. The last 2 of these items relate to patient bother, and the remaining items cover 23 concepts and 6 domains altogether. In the final slide, we consider some implications of the current research. This study presents the first several stages of PRO measure development. The draft PRO is now being validated using psychometric testing, as it's going to be used as a subjective patient-based endpoint in future clinical trials assessing cognitive impairment in schizophrenia. The results from a large validation study will soon be reported. This PRO will be the first patient-centric measure to assess the subjective experience of cognitive impairment in schizophrenia. Once validated, the new PRO instrument will be useful in clinical care and research, as it will provide a patient-based perspective, capturing the perceived impact of cognitive difficulties related to schizophrenia.